Howdy folks, I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for going off on my husband and his mom for taking/keeping my used pregnancy test? And I haven't read this one yet, so I don't know what's going to happen, so we'll add some content warnings in if we find some. I'm a 27-year-old female, and I found out I was pregnant very recently. My husband, a 34-year-old male, and his family are beyond happy and excited. From what I heard, my husband was married 2 times before, but couldn't have kids for 10 years. This obviously was a huge deal for his family, because his mom will be a first-time grandma with his baby. Well, they threw a celebration for us, and his mom and I were talking about the baby. She told me about how she already started making memories, started having keepsakes of her grandbaby. I felt a bit confused and asked her if my husband bought something for the baby and gave it to her. She said no, but he did bring her my used pregnancy test and gave it to her to store as a memory of the news of her grandbaby's existence. I was floored. I looked at my husband and said, "Did you really do that?" And he nodded while smiling. Not gonna lie, I felt creeped out, disgusted, and very uncomfortable. After the initial shock, I just went off on both of them, calling them what they did was creepy and disgusting and highly violating. My husband argued that it wasn't a big deal, and he just grabbed the test once I got rid of it, put it in a plastic bag, and gifted it to his mom as a keepsake. I told him that it made me feel violated and creeped out because that test had my literal pee on it. And his mom then said something about taking care of the smell, and I lashed out even more and demanded that they get rid of it, but they kept arguing and calling me controlling. Brother-in-law asked me to calm down. In the history of all arguments, calm down is just what needed to be said. Like, good job, brother-in-law. You found the solution to all conflicts. But I decided just to grab my stuff and go home. My husband started arguing about how this was just all an overreaction and said that I ruined his family's joy by how I was behaving and finding out about the pregnancy test. He said for him and his mom, it's all about the baby, and I somehow made this whole thing about me and hurt their feelings in the process. But it was my literal pee on that test, and I just couldn't help but flip out, even if it had ruined the joy for their news. Did I overreact? Alright, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and it's not all about the baby.
Yeah.
There's another human involved.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like, they're treating this like OP ruined the husband's and mother-in-law's joy, right? And like, you're making this all about yourself when they were selfishly making it all about themselves, right? And this is just, I think there's a lot of red flags in this story, if I had to say so myself. I think the fact that they didn't ask you ahead of time and didn't, bother to get your consent about whether or not you would want your pregnancy test kept as a keepsake, I think that's a pretty big violation there. And I know, like, you threw it out, but you weren't probably expecting your husband to dig it out of the trash and then, like, bring it to your mom like a trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have right to feel misused in this situation. I think you have right to feel violated in this situation, because it isn't necessarily what you were expecting, and they didn't come to you first and ask you if this was okay. They just kind of dropped this on you and expected you to be like a-okay and all right with it, right? So I don't think that you're a jerk in this situation, OP, but I do think that your husband and mother-in-law do not sound like they are. That sounds like they're trying to turn things around on you and make their kind of controlling behavior seem like you're being controlling, and I think that's a really bad place to be at. So yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. I think I see why at 34 you're his third wife, not the jerk. I was wondering about that, because it's like, he must have, just because he couldn't have kids with the other 2 women, I'm wondering if this was one of those deals where he kept trading down in order to basically find a suitable child incubator. That's what I'm wondering here. It kind of gives me those vibes. And the next person says, I'm getting incubator vibes.
And that's what the whole thing reads, is like, OP doesn't matter. It's all about the baby.
Yeah. Yeah, because the first 2 failed at giving his mom any precious grandbabies. I'm sorry, what? They said this was about their happiness and the baby, but not about you, the one creating the life in your womb? Do you realize it's the first step to never having the say in your own child's life? It's gonna be your husband and your wife, I mean, mother, not the jerk, but reevaluate seriously if you want a baby with this man and want to stay with him. Marinara flags all around.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed, many marinara flags. I wonder if, because I've seen this marinara flag thing, I'm wondering if they're basically stopping or deleting posts that say red flags now. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for blowing up my fiance? Blowing up my fiance. That's certainly not what we were going for. Sounds dangerous. Sounds like a recipe for disaster. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for blowing up at my fiance after she kept insisting that my daughter, a 14-year-old, cut her hair before the wedding? Throwaway to protect the privacy of those involved. I'm a 39-year-old male and my fiance, a 35-year-old female, got engaged a few months ago. We're almost done with the wedding planning and everything is going great. However, my fiance got involved in my daughter, a 14-year-old's preparation for the wedding and even paid for things that my daughter needed. My daughter has long hair, and my fiance had suggested that she get it cut before the wedding, even though my daughter isn't taking part in the wedding. It's her choice. My fiance bought magazines and visited sites to have my daughter take a look at and choose from different haircuts. My daughter made it obvious that she has no plans to cut her hair. I told my fiance to leave it alone, but she kept pushing it, saying that she wanted to encourage my daughter to try new things. But I again told her that my daughter had been feeling uncomfortable with this and she needed to leave it alone. She dropped it, but days later she brought it up again during breakfast. And to be frank, I started getting fed up, especially after she flat out started begging my daughter to revisit one of the looks that she suggested and cut her hair. I told my daughter to go to her room, and then I blew up at my fiance and tried to tell her to knock it off and stop pressuring my daughter into doing something that she doesn't want to do. She looked shocked and said that she's just trying to make sure that the focus will be on her and her bridesmaids, and that my daughter doesn't purposely try to stand out, especially with the dress that she picked out, and her continual refusal to get a new haircut. She said both my daughter and I were overreacting since hair grows back, but I firmly told her to drop it completely and stop bringing it up. She started ranting about how I keep undermining her as a future stepmom and how I'm making her look like she is the one doing a bad thing. Then the argument got worse. She went to stay with her mom for a couple days. I then sent a few texts to talk about the issues, but all she talked about was how unfair I was to yell at her for treating her like this. All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and don't marry this woman.
OP, there's still time to not marry this person. Like, I think that this is only going to get worse, and this is like a pretty big red flag in the respect that she's trying to control your daughter, and then she's also trying to make it sound like your daughter's being the unreasonable one by not wanting to cut her hair, and that she's going to upstage her.
A 14-year-old
Yeah.
is going to upstage her.
A 14-year-old is going to upstage you at your own wedding.
By having long hair. Absolutely nothing else, just having long hair.
So, OP, I think that this is not a good situation at all, and I think that you should really seriously consider this relationship. That's my thoughts. Anyhow, take care and good luck.
Hair extensions are a thing. If she's jealous because her hair doesn't grow long, she can get extensions for the wedding.
Is this real? Your fiance is seriously worried that your 14-year-old daughter is going to steal her thunder? If this isn't rage bait, you may seriously want to reconsider this marriage, not the jerk. Seriously, she is worried that she's going to be upstaged by a 14-year-old girl. This literally sounds like the evil queen in Snow White. So worried that her stepdaughter is more attractive than she is, so she hires someone to kill her. If this isn't a troll/bait post, then maybe OP should invite his fiance to a movie night, show her any one of the millions of versions of a movie like this, and see how she reacts. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I hope you have something tasty, and you can guess what kind of tea that I have. Or had.
I was gonna say invisible tea.
What did the adding machine say to the cashier? You can count on me. I don't know if we've done that one before. Let me know if I'm reusing old jokes at this point in time. And I had matcha. Oh, wait, that's not even an option here. Oops.
Brian has tricked you all.
Oopsie daisy. I forgot that I didn't have matcha as a choice anymore, so I had matcha tea, and I kind of lied to you. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like, and if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.